What does it take to get into the medical schools in Canada? There are 17 medical schools in Canada from coast to coast, and there's a lot that you need to know if you want to get admitted. From what MCAT score you'll need, to how to navigate being an in-province, out-of-province, or international applicant. In this video, I'll break down the major requirements for most Canadian medical schools so you can start your journey to becoming a doctor north of the border. Hi, I'm Natalie Stoberman and I'm an admissions associate here at BeMo. Before we get started, please subscribe on whatever social media channel that you're watching this on so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. If you'd like us to help you get into medical school, visit bemomedschool.com to schedule your free initial consultation. And FYI, check out the timestamps in the description of this video so you can navigate to specific sections that you're interested in. Here's what we're going to cover. Med school residency requirements, matching the GPA requirements, acing MCAT expectations, and selection factors. And we're giving away $50 Amazon gift cards every week to the best comments and questions. So comment below for your chance to win. And we have the ultimate tip that will help you get into medical school in Canada, so keep watching to find out. With that said, let's get started. Medical school residency requirements. Whether you're an in-province, out-of-province, or international applicant will have huge impacts on what is required of you to apply to Canadian medical schools. Typically, in-province applicants are considered the more likely candidates for acceptance. Schools intentionally attract in-province students and make admission requirements more difficult for out-of-province and international applicants. That's because admissions departments feel more certain that in-province applicants will remain in the region to practice after graduation. Most faculties also reserve several spots for out-of-province applicants. So this leaves international applicants, including from the United States, facing strong competition and limited places for them to study in Canada. Out of 17 Canadian medical schools, only 7 accept American students. Ontario has 2 of those med schools. McMaster's MD program admits an average of 206 students per year, and 98% of admitted applicants are in-province applicants, while the remaining 2% are up for grabs to out-of-province and international students. At the University of Toronto, approximately 8.3% of applicants are admitted every year, and 86% of those accepted applicants are from Ontario, making room for only 12% of the class to be from out of province and 4% to be international students. Memorial University Med School is another Canadian medical school that accepts American and other international applicants. This applicant pool is highly competitive, with over 450 applicants every year for only 6 out of 80 seats. To be competitive, you have to achieve higher GPA and MCAT scores than applicants from the other 3 pools. And you also have to impress the admissions committee with your paid work experience, valuable people-centered extracurricular activities, and outstanding reference letters. On average, 75% of students admitted are residents of Newfoundland and Labrador. 18% are applicants from other maritime provinces, and the remaining 7% are international students and students from the remaining provinces. All med schools in Quebec do allow U.S. and international students, but these schools highly emphasize the acceptance of applicants from Quebec. And in some cases, you'll need to speak French in your admissions journey and during your studies. For instance, the MD program at McGill admits around 183 students per year, and only 2 positions are available for American and other international students. Or at the University of Sherbrooke Medical School, only 199 students are admitted yearly, with only 1 student coming from the international pool, making for a 0.5% acceptance rate. On top of that, international applicants must complete the CASPER exam in French. Matching the GPA requirements. Most Canadian med schools have a minimum threshold for GPAs, so knowing where your averages stand will give you the best direction to which med school will be the best fit for you. Starting on the West Coast, the University of British Columbia posts an average GPA of just under 88% to matriculate into the Faculty of Medicine, and that average is strictly for Canadian applicants only. In Alberta, both of the province's medical schools post their minimum requirements. At the University of Alberta's Faculty of Medicine and Dentistry, the posted average GPA is 3.85, while the Cummings School of Medicine GPA is just as competitive at 3.84. In the Prairie Province, the University of Saskatchewan College of Medicine threshold is similar to Alberta's. They're looking for students with a minimum 88.27% GPA average. But keep in mind, their acceptance rate is the highest in the country at 17.7%. So this would be a good option to have should you need to apply to a school with slightly easier requirements. When you cross into Manitoba, you're looking at one of the more competitive programs in the country, which is the Max Rady College of Medicine. Though the program's acceptance rate is 12.5%, their cutoff for GPA averages sits at a whopping 4.18 average, tipping the scales on the higher end for Canadian medical schools. If your heart is set on attending one of Ontario's 6 medical schools, knowing each school's requirements is incredibly important before you get started with your applications. The University of Toronto is one of the most prestigious medical schools in Canada and the world, so its acceptance rate is quite steep at 8.3%, and that's with students applying from all over the globe. Even with the U of T's minimum GPA average at 3.96, the competition is so steep that your grades will need to be significantly higher than this threshold to be considered for the admissions process. The Northern Ontario School of Medicine sits on the lower end with a 3.86 minimum GPA, but with a marginal 3.2% acceptance rate. Then the Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry at Western University sets the bar at 3.91. And the Michael G. DeGroote School of Medicine at McMaster University is not far behind at 3.89. On a side note, all medical schools in Ontario use the Ontario Medical School Application Service, known as OMSAS. It's the online centralized application service to accept and assess applications from thousands of students annually. That means that all of the other medical schools outside of Ontario have their own individual application systems. So be sure to research the application timelines for your schools of choice. Of the 4 medical schools in Quebec, 3 of them strictly instruct in French, so that alone could narrow your options. Those 3 schools also don't set an average GPA. So if the McGill University Faculty of Medicine in Montreal is one of your options to apply to, keep in mind their minimum GPA average is a challenging 3.88. On the East Coast, there are 2 medical schools to choose from. Nova Scotia's Dalhousie University Faculty of Medicine presents a challenging average GPA of 3.9, but at Memorial University's Faculty of Medicine in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, the average GPA depends on if you're a local student or an out-of-province or international applicant. Acing MCAT expectations. Having a competitive MCAT score will always take you far in the med school application process. But how do you know which doors an MCAT score will or won't open for you? For starters, a good MCAT score would be equal to or higher than the average cutoff score at your chosen schools. And an MCAT score in the 50th percentile or higher could be considered above average. That roughly translates into a score of 506. But an excellent MCAT score would be in the overall 90th percentile, which currently means a score of 515 or greater. And anything above 517 is considered as outstanding. So with that kind of score, it'll be difficult for med schools to reject your application. But what if you're still choosing to go to med school in Canada and your MCAT scores don't meet the minimum requirements? There are ways around that because certain schools don't require the MCAT. In Ontario, U-Ottawa does not ask for an MCAT score, and the Northern Ontario School of Medicine does not require the MCAT either. And in Quebec, all 4 medical schools don't require the MCAT for admission, with the acceptance of McGill, because MCAT scores may be required depending on if you're an out-of-province or international applicant. Otherwise, you may need to score between 508 and 509 just to be competitive for the program. Selection factors. Just as with application systems and minimum GPA and MCAT requirements, most Canadian medical schools have their own set of selection factors to consider when you apply. These selection factors generally include specific coursework and prerequisites, GPA and MCAT, transcripts, extracurriculars, reference letters, and CASPER. Here are a few examples. The UBC Faculty of Medicine application process has some unique elements. UBC is one of a few Canadian medical schools that does not require a CASPER test as part of your application, and letters of recommendation are not required of applicants unless they go through the interview process where they will be asked to submit the supplemental application. The University of Alberta Medical School has no preference for which institution you attend or what discipline you study as long as you fulfill the requirements of your degree program. Though the program does not specify any course requirements, you should still consider taking medical school prerequisites to help you get ready for the MCAT and the study of medicine. Successful completion of CASPER is also mandatory to maintain admission eligibility for U of A. Applicants to the Cummings School of Medicine can also choose to do their undergrad degree in any discipline that they prefer. But the U of C does give a comprehensive list of courses that they recommend that applicants pursue in their undergrad career. You are encouraged to take science courses that would introduce you to basic scientific principles, such as introductory biology, inorganic chemistry, organic chemistry, and so on. On a side note, you are required to provide a complete list of all your paid employment experiences. Note that all of your paid experiences need to be included, so don't disregard your early or short-term jobs. The Max Rady College of Medicine applies a formula to calculate the ranking of each applicant. This ranking helps to determine which applicants are invited to an interview and subsequently which applicants get the offer of admissions. All eligible applicants to the Canadian Indigenous applicant pool will be offered an interview. But for all other applicants, the ADCOMs will calculate a composite score to determine an applicant's ranking for the interview. To sum it up, the formula is broken down by your average GPA, counting for 20% of your ranking. Your MCAT score makes up 50% of your ranking composite, and your CASPER score counts for 30%. Additionally, your rural coefficient, your academic coefficient, and your socioeconomic and cultural diversity coefficient will be counted towards your ranking. A large factor for the Northern Ontario School of Medicine lies more along the lines of admitting applicants who have a genuine interest in helping to fulfill the mandate and uphold NOSM's values. This criteria can include, but is not limited to, demonstrating interest in living and working in Northern Ontario and/or rural remote areas of the rest of Canada. Demonstrating interest in working with underserviced populations, no matter where they are. Having the ability to identify community needs and willingness to play a part in fulfilling these needs. Demonstrating interest in cross-cultural experiences. And they place immense value on an applicant's employment, volunteer, and extracurricular experiences. The U of T designates 4 clusters based on the CanMEDS framework that identify and describe the abilities a physician must possess to effectively meet the healthcare needs of their patients that heavily influences their selection factors. This framework includes being professional, your level of maturity, reliability, perseverance, and responsibility. Being a good communicator, collaborator, or manager. So your level of communication, collaboration, teamwork, time management, and leadership. Being an advocate. How you prioritize advocacy, community service, and social responsibility. And being a scholar. What is your academic standing? Or what are your achievements in leadership, research, and social responsibility? These 4 clusters and their associated skills and qualities will be evaluated based on your autobiographical sketch, brief personal essays, and reference letters. The CASPER test is a crucial selection factor in the Quebec medical school system. Some of the schools had to cancel the traditional MMI interviews and use CASPER test results in the final selection stages, and that is how their selection process continues today. To ace your test, you must know how to prepare for CASPER. Don't forget to use our Casper questions to get ready. And if you need more help with Casper prep, don't hesitate to contact us. Check out our blog to read more about medical schools in Canada. I've included the link in the description of this video for easy access. And if you'd like us to help you get into medical school, visit BeMoMedSchool.com to schedule your free initial consultation. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, so please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. And if you have any questions about this video that I didn't cover, please let me know in the comment section and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Don't forget that we're giving away $50 Amazon gift cards every week to the best comments and questions. So comment below for your chance to win. Thanks for watching and see you next time.